Hey YouTube, Joe Edelmann here again. First off, I want to say thank you to all of you who tuned in for Burn Holiday's weekly In Rainbows cover releases this summer. We had so much fun working on that project, and it was really nice to share it with all of you. I've put a master cut of the In Rainbow sessions up on Burn Holiday's YouTube channel, so be sure to go check that out there alongside some of the singles from our most recent album, Memento. Today's video is in response to a lot of requests that I received to break down the pedals that I use for my Radiohead covers. I had previously put together a piece on Jonny Greenwood's use of the delay pedal, which you can check out in the description, but I thought it would be cool to walk through some more full pedal boards for the band and to give a sense of some of the other cool sounds and moments from their discography. I should definitely note that my friend David over at thekingofgear.com has already done such a tremendous job cataloging the ins and outs of Radiohead's pedal boards and effectology, so you should definitely go there and check that out if you haven't already. I'll even be featuring some of David's own custom-built pedals during this video. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to give you a somewhat comprehensive yet still concise overview of each Radiohead guitarist's pedal setup and how they achieved some of their signature tones. I'm going to use the exact pedals that they used in some cases and close approximations in others. I'm going to use song examples predominantly from OK Computer and In Rainbows to give a sense of sort of their old school and their new school pedal aesthetic. We're going to start with Jonny Greenwood. Jonny's use of effects has always been a distinctive part of his guitar sound, especially during the OK Computer era, but also in the present day, as evidenced by the examples I gave in my delay pedal video. Interestingly, Jonny's core pedal setup hasn't changed much since the early days of the band, though he's continued to find new and exciting ways to use them. Here's a walkthrough of my early days Jonny pedalboard. The small stone phaser by Electro-Harmonix is all over songs from the Bends and OK Computer. Jonny typically uses it with a slow rate setting, but he's been known to adjust it with his foot while playing. He even uses it for keyboard sounds occasionally, for example in the song Talk Show Host. Tremolo is another effect that got a lot of mileage in Jonny's early playing. You can hear it on songs from the Bends like Bones, where he adjusts the rate in the beginning of the song, or on songs like Lucky from OK Computer. He uses a model called the Demeter Tremulator, but I'll be using this Stereo Pulsar by Electro-Harmonix. Envelope filter pedals like the DoD 440 are most notably used in genres like funk music to create a quacky, auto-wah type effect, but Jonny uses it most notably in the solo to Paranoid Android Live to reproduce that glitchy, squelchy sound. He uses his foot to control the range knob in real time to vary the severity of the effect. The Digitech Whammy is a legendary pitch-shifting effect that's been used by artists like Tom Morello and Jack White. But both Jonny Greenwood and Ed O'Brien have also found various uses for this pedal. Jonny most commonly uses the 1 octave up whammy and harmony settings, for example in the songs Subterranean Homesick Alien, Just, and My Iron Lung. Jonny was known to use a Boss SD1 Super Overdrive pedal for his lighter gain sounds. Here I'm using the Boss OS2, which is a blend of an SD1 and a DS1 in the same box. However, Jonny Greenwood's true signature gain sound is the high distortion of his Marshall Shredmaster pedal. Here I'm using the King of Gear's Oxford Drive pedal, which is an exact replica of that circuit. You can hear this tone in the intro to Airbag as well as the solos from Electioneering and Paranoid Android. Finally, you may recognize the Boss RE201 Space Echo from my Jonny Greenwood delay tutorial video. This is one of Jonny's favorite effects, and he utilizes both the reverb and delay sides of the pedal often. Jonny originally bought this pedal to replace his actual Roland Space Echo tape units, which were notoriously unreliable with age. For the next couple of song examples, I'll be using some pedals that Jonny has added to his setup more recently. This is the Akai Headrush E2, which is both a looper pedal as well as a tape delay simulator. Jonny uses it as a looper on songs like Weird Fishes and 15 Step. This is the King of Gear's mini glitch pedal, which is a fantastic replica of Jonny's Max MSP computer patch that stutters and randomly resamples his guitar signal, as heard in the solos for Go to Sleep and in the live arrangement of Feral. It also has a bunch of other really cool modes and settings. Next, let's talk Tom York. I've sandwiched Tom here in the middle because, for the most part, he likes to keep his guitar signal fairly simple. And to me, that's equally as cool as Jonny and Ed's Pedal Mania because it really allows the nuances of his intricate and severely underrated rhythm guitar playing style to shine through. Tom started off in the early days of the band with the barest of bones pedal setups, a single rat distortion pedal. And you can hear that distorted guitar sound on their early records such as The Bends and Lift. Later on, by the In Rainbows era and beyond, he had added other tools to his belt, such as compression and looping. Let's walk through my example Tom York pedalboard. Compression is a fairly prominent part of Tom York's guitar sound from the later Radiohead records, especially on In Rainbows for the gentler, finger-picked moments from Reckoner and House of Cards. Tom has used a variety of different compressors live and in the studio, including rack-mounted units and those from boutique manufacturers like Telenordia, but here I'm using the MXR Dynacomp Deluxe. As I mentioned previously, Tom leaned pretty heavily on the Rat pedal, specifically the Turbo Rat, for his distorted sounds in the early days of the band. Here I'm using the Moore Black Secret, which does a good job replicating both Rat models. On the song Body Snatchers, Tom achieved a really gnarly fuzz sound by plugging his guitar directly into the mixing desk and overloading the preamp. The JHS Crayon is a pedal built on that same concept, and it generates a distortion sound that, while not identical to the one on the record, is still pretty cool in its own right. In recent years, Tom has become a big fan of using loopers to layer his voice and his guitar playing when performing live. He's used a variety of loopers to accomplish this, including the Line 6 DL4 and the Electro-Harmonix 45000, but here I'll be using the Ditto X4 looper, which has a handy decay feature to control how my loops evolve as I add layers over time. Finally, let's talk about Ed O'Brien. Ed is the self-declared pedal freak of the band, and he recently appeared on that pedal show to prove it. However, in the early days of the band, he took an approach similar to Tom, with a more simple, overdrive-focused board. He later became known for his use of pedals like the whammy pedal, similar to Jonny Greenwood, and for his stacking of delay pedals of various rates and textures to create ambient, pad-like sounds that really add a lot to the atmosphere of Radiohead's latter-day works. There are so many pedals to choose from when it comes to Ed, but here are the specific examples I chose for my board. Once again, we have the Digitech whammy pedal. I'll be using the octave up whammy setting for the warbles in the chorus of Paranoid Android, and I'll be using the octave up harmony setting for the orchestral swells in Nude. Also appearing again is the King of Gear's Oxford Drive pedal. This pedal has a really awesome secondary function, which is LED clipping, that's meant to replicate the sound of Ed's Marshall Governor pedal, which he used in the early days of the band for distortion sounds. Next, we have a wah pedal. I'm using a Jimi Hendrix model here, but any good wah will do. Ed uses the wah in a pretty interesting way, placing it after his drive pedals, which creates a stronger, more characteristic filter sweeping type effect. You can hear this at the end of the live arrangement for videotape, in which he uses it to control the ambient washes of his delays, or in songs like Body Snatchers. Next, we have a volume pedal. Here I'm using the Boss FV500L. Ed uses a volume pedal in sort of typical ambient guitar fashion to shape the transient of his guitar sound or remove the pick attack and create a more constant violin-like swell when feeding into his delay pedals. You can hear this again on songs like Nude. Ed is crazy about delay pedals. He will always stack a few different types of them together on the same board to create interesting textures. Here I'm using the Boss Digital Delay DD6 as one of those delays. Ed uses a DD5, which is a very similar model. That being said, Ed's favorite single delay would probably have to be the Electro-Harmonix Memory Man delay, which has a great modulated sound. Here I'm using the TC Electronic Flashback delay, using its tone print capabilities to try to get close to that sound. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more covers, original songs, and instructional videos like these.